I've got my hands up. I'm ready to rock. I sure hope you guys can hear me because sure enough, I've had problems with the microphone all dang time. Every time I try to get in here as the host. So let me see here. Coop's trying to get on here, and we are, as you can tell, I'm not Mark Radulich. As you can tell, I'm not Robert Cooper. I sure as heck am not Neil Fallon. My name is Jesse Starcher, and I'm bringing in the Metal Hammer of Doom tonight. We are going to be continuing our second part of Woods of Ypres, and we got cut off there last time. Good old blog talk. So we are going to do our best to pick up kind of where we left off, because that was Coop's baby, and I want to make sure that he gets on there and has the chance to, definitely talk about the rest of that album. Coop is trying to call in here. Now, I better double check and just make sure that you guys can hear me. Let me tell you what I've been doing today. Today has been, hey, here we go. Hold on a second. That's Coop. Let me bring him on here. Robert Cooper, can you hear me, sir?
Oh, why, yes. Yes, I can.
Thank goodness, man.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get Skype to work. I do not know why Skype is being such a little son of a bitch. I don't know where the little button. There's supposed to be a little button right beside the call-in number on Blog Talk, and I just don't see it.
I tell you what, I think what's happened here is they don't do that anymore, because I think it's completely gone. And the only way to get people to be able to Skype in is by sending them emails. So I have to send you an email invite, which will take you to like a little web page where you can connect via Skype. So if you want to try that, man, I can send you an email, because I think you sent me your email address there a while back. But I'll let you take the intro here, and I'll figure out how to email you something. So if you want to try and do Skype, you can here in a few. But please, sir, bring us in, man. Bring us in.
Okay, well, just as Jesse said, we're doing this week because we're letting him behind with Mark Radulich, but he wanted to go see that shitty-ass Fantastic Four movie instead. Which, I mean, I can't blame him, because it looked kind of like a slow-speed car wreck, and judging from his review of it, it was very slow. But, yeah, we're kind of picking up where we left off from last week, because the reason why I'm trying to Skype in was about by the time we hit Modern Life Architecture, Blog Talk Radio kicked me off.
Wow.
So I wasn't, I talked into that phone for like 3 minutes before I was like, where's Jesse at? And I was like, damn. And then I was like, Jesse, where are you at? And then I messaged him, he goes, no, you got booted, and there's no way to get anybody back on to Blog Talk Radio once the initial broadcast is kind of canceled. Once you're in recorded time, there's no way to get somebody to call back in. So we kind of had to put the kibosh on it, and I guess fate will have it that, this next week we get to do this album. We get to kind of revisit this album and do the last 4 parts of it, the last 4 songs of it. And then kind of add in some time, because while I'm pretty sure we can talk the rest of this album for an hour, I guess I wanted to give a little introduction to Throssenblatt for whenever we get to do Throssenblatt 2. I decided to try and request, see if Jesse will do Throssenblatt's demo, their original EP, Canada 2010. And I just finished, actually, I've listened to it about 3 times this evening and mulled through it.
Well, I was going to say, my intention was to listen to that, and I got through 2 tracks before I had to take care of some fatherly duties and hang out with the kids for a few before I put them to bed. But as always, I am up for learning and from you, and whenever you bring something to the table, I can't wait to learn about it. So it'll be a learning experience for me, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, this demo is definitely a whole lot of black metal. It doesn't have a lot of the folkier passages that the first full-length album has. I feel like it does a really good job of being a really good black metal album that has actually some really interesting lyrical content. It's not quite the same sort of interesting lyrical content you'll find in Woods 5. There's not nearly so much deep thought as it is just kind of looking at nature as sort of kind of an archive of sorts. There's a lot of talk of using nature as an archive, and how the night there's only a few things good in the night, but everything is good in the sun until the sun turns its back on you and fucks you over. There's like songs about all of that, and it's really interesting. And it's only 8 songs long, so yeah, we'll totally get into that. But first, I think we should go ahead and hop back on the horse here, because if I'm not mistaken, before we made Hulk Hogan jokes last week. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, let me just ask you, did you listen to the end of that episode? I could totally understand if you didn't, but it was a damn train wreck. Oh, it was a train wreck. Blog Talk now allows you to actually go back there and edit episodes if you want. So it honestly occurred to me to like, man, that last part was just utter shit, because I was sitting there. I made this Hulk Hogan joke, and there was nothing going on. I'm like, what happened? Of course, you had dropped at that point. And then I was like, I don't know what the hell to do. So I'm going to play the next song. And then you sent me the notes over, and I was like, fuck it. We've got to try and do this sometime later. Cause I did not want to carry on the torch without you here by me especially for Woods, man. There was no way I was going to try and do that album justice once you left. So I'm glad we get to continue.
Oh, hey, yeah, I'm stoked. I'm really excited to be able to finish this album out, because I was going to send our original podcast to, there's Woods Ypres. Damn it, Woods of Ypres fan club that I'm a part of, that's actually run by David Gold's mom.
Oh, and, no kidding.
Yeah, no shit. I'm gonna send both parts, but I wanted to finish out the review, because I feel like the last 4 songs really... They're really interesting. The only song I can actually say on here that I don't feel like I have a total idea of what it's saying on this last 4 is Alternate Ending. Mm-hmm. But I think I just got kind of an interesting idea on it, so I'm really excited to get to that. But yeah, we've got what is it? Is there 4 songs left? Let's see. We left off on Modern Life Architecture, right?
That's right.
Did we get through that song?
No. You dropped before Modern Life Architecture could be played. I read your notes, but we didn't get through it, I don't think.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think we did. I remembered we were right. We were like, all right, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get into it. Hulk Hogan, then everything tanked.
As Hulk Hogan tends to do with many things. That's that could other than the L word, we might be able to attribute to Hulkamania too.
Well, I'm sure his biography is at the L word and around me. So okay.
All right.
What am I doing here? Okay, so I did the. Can I direct connect? I don't know. We'll find out. Whoop. Connect to the broadcast. I don't know if there's even a Skype option anymore.
Dude, I couldn't find it. It's been going on 3 weeks now. I think I tried to Skype into some other. Teasley, we come back with cheap seats last week, and Teasley was all screwed. Well, actually, it was earlier this week. He was all screwed up. So imagine all the changes. I mean, they've done a ton of changes since April. All right, there you are. Hold on a second.
Yeah, am I here?
And give me a test 1, 2.
Test 1. Yay.
There you are. I'm going to go ahead and drop your cell phone there. All right, man.
Yeah. There we go. I dropped the cell phone like a sack of hammers. Yeah, how is Cheap Seats going?
Well, we just came back. We had quite a bit of a break, but we're obviously football centric, so I think preseason actually starts this freaking weekend. So we're having a good time. Teasley's. I don't know if you heard much from Teasley or not, but he started his new job, and that takes a lot of hours, dedicates a lot of time to that, and which pretty much translates into he wants to end the podcast prior to falling asleep, which is pretty much, all right, we're done. And he hits the end button. And that's kind of how that rolls. Well, we have a good time. Have a good time.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I got my notes up here. Holy shit. I didn't realize how much I wrote about this album. Holy shit.
You sent me those things, and I'm like, I think on the podcast, it was funny because you sent me the notes, and I'm sitting there scrolling down. I'm like, holy shit, he's got 5 pages here. Is it 5 or 9?
It's 5.
5, yeah, okay. For some reason, I was thinking it was 9 for some reason. 5 freaking pages.
Yeah, and Rosenblatt only have 2, but to be fair, it's not quite as much of a dense album. You can really get the idea of the lyrics in pretty much a few sentences. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started on this because we're almost 15 minutes in, and we have 4 Would You Ypres songs for Ypres. Damn it! I'm gonna do it for a long time.
Oh, it's hard to do. It's hard to actually change because I've done it plenty of times so far.
Oh yeah, it's Ypres. Yeah, so like we got 4 Woods of Ypres songs, 8 Rosenblatt songs, and you've only heard 2 of them. So I almost wish you could listen to the acoustic versions first. You'd like those more because they're actually.
Here's the thing: the acoustics are actually on. They're on Skype. At least 4 of them are. I don't know because I know this is 8 songs long, but I've heard 4 of them as they were on the acoustic stuff. So
yeah, there's 3 of them are released on the Black Arboreal Sky EP, which takes Vastland, She Arboreal, and Black Sky and turns them into acoustic songs. And that's one of my favorite things to do at work is to either come through the front door of Lowe's Home Improvement blasting black metal or death metal or thrash metal, or come in just blasting acoustic things just to bother them.
Wow, wonderful.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I came in today playing Asator from With Odin on Our Side by Amon Amarth. Yeah.
Nice. Did you get some looks?
Yeah. They're used to me. Like
here comes that bearded metalhead again.
Here comes the weirdo. Yeah. Oh, and Mark will be very happy. I smuggled Mexicans over the border again on Tuesday. I was actually supposed to do it tonight, but yeah, because they needed me in the back, and I told them, "Hey, hell yeah, man, free hours, duh."
Wow, hell yeah. Where is the mulch? I need to know where the mulch is, sir, senor.
Oh yeah. Oh, hey, I did the mulch today. Yeah, some people got mulch. Actually, the worst thing ever is before we start the get to Modern Life Architecture, which I tried to delete some of those wood songs because I couldn't get rid of the Lamb of God songs in case Mark was like, "We're doing it next week," you know.
Oh yeah.
But the sandbags, the bags of play sand that are at hardware stores, or at least my hardware store. I don't know if you've ever messed with them, but they're 50 pounds and use the thinnest plastic.
Yes, sir. I've got one out in my van right as we speak, and I forgot it was out there actually today until I hopped in the van. I was like, shit, there's that 50-pound bag of sand. I got to move to the basement sometime soon. And yes, sand all over the place. Yeah,
I had to load up 10 for a lady today, and about every 3 bags, one of them ripped or was ripped. It's the worst. I say those things are made out of paper mache.
It's bad, dude. It's bad.
It's on a scale of 1 to fuck. It's pretty fucked. Yeah, so my lady friend Savannah says fuck that play sand because I'm pretty sure we all have the same play sand. It's got some goofy ass looking kid on the front of it, and it's like red and green.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck that stuff.
It's the exact same thing I got, man. Do you guys sell the colored stuff? The colored sand?
The colored sand? No, we don't have colored sand. We just have paper sand and play sand.
I was gonna say the wife's been after me to get some like blue or some kind of colored sand. And I didn't mean to get racist on the podcast or anything, but you know I just needed
sand, whatever.
All right, man. You ready to get to this Modern Life Architecture? All right, dude.
Oh yes.
All right,
go
here
ahead
we go.
And get started on track number 8 from Woods of Ypres' 5th and final album. Here it is, Modern Life Architecture.
All right. All right. Modern Life Architecture. My feelings about this song, after reading the lyrics and listening to how he's, what he's singing about here, and I think I touched on this on the last episode. After I'd played it, it makes me think that what he's trying to get across here is the fact that you try your best to put together something and a goal, I guess I would say, would be the best way to put it. You set a goal, whether it be, I'm going to get a college education. I'm going to get a great job, and I'm going to have 3 kids and a house with a white picket fence. And as you start to go towards that goal, one of the things that you forget to do is you're so focused on that goal that life is happening right, flies past you. And you are letting life pass you by doing these things that a lot of times turn around and sometimes mean nothing. He mentions about how when you feel like you've completed, the first cracks start to appear. And you start to realize, oh crap, things are starting to fall apart. I need to go back and start. I got to do this, and this to get everything back in order. It's kind of a song that says, you know what? It's best to just kind of let it go and learn to live life than to try and make one. There's my 2 cents, Coop. What do you got to say on this one?
I never really thought about that, but that's actually a really good way to look at things, because as you'll hear, I kind of looked at it a little differently. I've noticed that's a good thing. That's a good reason the two of us did this podcast, because you seem to go more towards an optimistic sort of route. I'm like, hang yourself.
That's all right. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
That's actually a really good way of looking at it, because you kind of look at it past what could the literal meaning be, that the writer's telling us, and you're actually looking at what the writer's telling us to do. I like that, because I think that's a really good way to kind of look at it, that, you keep planning for life, and instead of planning it, just live it. All the plans fall apart. I think that's a really good way to look at it. Now, as for my thesis statement on this on this song here, I kind of echoed at the beginning what it said. It said, when we're young, we're told to make a plan, and the elders preach that we should go forth to that plan and then reach it. And whether we reach it or not, when we do reach it, eventually you can notice the cracks, because today's society is so fast. It's just so breakneck. Everything's a New York minute, that we've been setting goals that we've just put years in the future. And once we hit that point, we're done, and we've made mistakes. We've kind of looked around like, oh no, just like you said, oh no, well shit, what do I do? I got to fix all this. And another thing this song's saying, at least I think it's saying, is that we put the prime of our years settling in for something that's going to fall down, that's going to crumble, because we set those plans at a time where I don't think we're ready to set plans. And you can't get that time back. And unless you manage to get in soon enough, unless you just hit a midlife crisis at 25, you're almost stuck being that person you were before all these plans were here, later in life. But then, and then I put that, you got to try and fix what's broken, give it another chance. That usually happens with a lot of people. Okay, hit something rough, but you know what? We're going to give it another go. But unfortunately, unlike when you were in your prime and you had all of this, had this plan and these ideas and all this future ahead of you, well, this time now you've got time. Time is against you, because you're no longer, 18 going to college, all this ahead of you. You're, 30, 40, whatever, and you're just sitting like, what do I do? So, yeah, I put it, unless you catch it early, it's not that's not usually the case. you just kind of abandon your dreams, and loved ones either go with them, or your loved one's going to have to take those dreams for you. Like, you know, going to try and help you get to them. And it's really hard for those dreams kind of like fall and crack and fall apart, because, you know, there's a lot of our like culture in the world that's like really is like, okay, we have a dream, you have a goal, you have something, strive for it, do it, become it. And when that doesn't work, there's a lot of people that don't have a backup, and it's really hard to sometimes move forward with those dreams and ideas, because just at one of my favorite lines in this whole album, and this modern life architecture is crumbling under the weight of the world. It's because every person in today's society, we're so globalized, it's so competitive, that every person feels like they have the weight of the world on their shoulders. And it's something that's a really hard to carry.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what it's saying, that everybody's just kind of burdened by the globalized economy. I feel like that's what a lot of this album's actually talking about, how, like, you know, with like career suicide, modern life architecture, even stuff like death is not an exit, when it's just talking about how we have bleak lives in modern times. I feel like it's almost talking about like the city, like the concrete, how the concrete's so dull and everything is so gray. And I think I've said earlier, there's no magic, there's nothing colorful, there's nothing beautiful. It's just you just live in this gray world, and you live and do, you know, you do what you do, you live your life, and then you die, and that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Now you've got, obviously, I'll ask you one question and we can move on to the next song. You're a young man, and you're going through college right now. You've got somewhat of a career path laid out. And obviously you're a working man also right now. If you could just say, fuck it. All right. And do what you wanted to do, what would you do?
Well, I've actually thought about that, because while I think teaching would be a pretty good career, I picked it because it's safe. Like, that's something you can.
No one can blame you.
And I mean, everybody needs to teach. The way I look at it, but I'm actually pretty excited to start student teaching, just to get my feet wet and get started in it. But if I could do something, it'd probably be something kind of like literature based, or kind of like idea based. Like, I'd love to be like a journalist or a writer, or even like a broadcaster. Like, you know, let's say do radio. I'd love to do something like this. I don't know if you've ever guessed that, but, you know, I just love to get my ideas out in the world and talk about them, because, you know, I think I got a few good ideas, and I like to hear other people's good ideas, and I like people telling me I have shitty ideas. You know, that'd be something really cool to do. Unfortunately, those are, unlike somebody that's like, I really want to go do science. Like, no, like writing, broadcasting, that's one of those careers I feel like you start later, or not necessarily later in life. That's something that you can do kind of on the back burner while you kind of get yourself settled. And then, like, that's something I'd really like to do, and I'd really like to start, but I do have the time, and I'll see where it goes, you know, because you can write in your free time. That's not one of those things like you have to drop everything and necessarily do. I mean, some people will, and I think that's great. And I think I'd like to do that. But I just want to get that degree done, get that nice, bachelor's degree, shiny piece of paper, pay off the loans, move on.
See, here's the thing. And I think this ties back into the song pretty well, because, you know, he mentions the weight of the world. You mentioned it. You know, if you just said yourself, the reason you're taking that type of an occupation, you're trying to do the best. You know, you're trying to do something that you love to do. But you mentioned how it was safe, and the only, you know, that whole fear of it takes a big risk to go out there and do something that, okay, am I going to get paid for this? I don't know. And the only reason you're worried about getting paid for it is because, well, you got bills, you've got taxes, you've got to pay to eat, you've got, You know, all that shit that the world puts on you is something you just can't shrug off, unfortunately. And that really can have a pretty negative effect on somebody actually wanting to live their own life. But, you know, as for me, if I could just say fuck it and go do what I want to do, I would probably seriously move out west and be a desert hippie. How's that?
You know, why the hell not?
Why the hell not? All right. So, yeah, okay. I'm done with that one. What else we got here, man? We got the next one, which is track 9.
Yeah, we have 9, and actually it's technically a 2-parter, but on the album, I'm just going by what the album had. It's listed as 1. And when listening to the album, you could tell it's in 2 parts once you know it. Like, there's certain, like, there's almost like kind of a bridge between them. There's a certain ideas between the two, but the themes are slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that. But this one is probably, it's not my favorite song, but it's my favorite song to think about, because there's a certain irony in even this podcast when you think about this song. So I'll go ahead and get into that after we play this song. This is track number 9 off of Woods 5, Gray Skies and Electric Light. This is Kiss My Ashes Goodbye.
Okay. Kiss My Ashes Goodbye. Well, let me go ahead and I'll give you my personal opinion on this. And I really do wish we had the opportunity to let it play through part 2, because just like Coop said, it does. It kind of changes up, and it definitely feels like a different song. I remember when I first listened to this album and listening to this song, it's right at the end of it, it changes up, and I thought it was completely a new song, but it was talking about the same thing. And I was like, wait a second, this is exactly what the song just before this was talking about. Well, obviously the song had not ended; it had just gone on and continued. But it's personally, it feels like he's trying to say, move on. I mean, it is the title of the song is Kiss My Ashes Goodbye. And a lot of what we already know about Mr. Gold is that he does not believe in an afterlife. It also feels like to me that he's trying to get it across to people to not worry about death as much as they should. With when somebody dies, it feels like he's always trying to say, don't mourn me for so long. But I get the sense, and just reading the lyrics here, that this first part, it sounds like he's talking about, people that we love and respect and may have been an artist or a teacher or a philosopher or whatever. As they've passed, we continue to look at their body of work, and we start to understand what they were going through a little bit more. Now, as for part 2, with it changing up, like, again, I think the message still stays the same. It really sounds like he's trying to drive home the fact that, hey, just don't worry about me. I've had my time. I've passed. It's done and over with. And Coop, I saw what you're talking about here now. After reading these lyrics about how I don't want to say the irony, but how fitting it is that we're talking about these two songs, or this song, and what's happened. So I'm going to let you explain and expound upon that.
Yeah, actually, what I found to be the irony of this podcast is really the fact that I found this band after David Gold died. Well, I didn't find it because he died, but some people did. I find that the irony is that we're combing through this album and really glorifying this guy's ideas, and I do. Like, when I talk about this band, this album, I'm like, damn, this stuff is gospel in a way. Yeah. It really is. It preaches a lot. But this song is saying, don't do that. He's saying, like, when I'm gone, when I'm dead, just, in room second, and then just forget me. Just kiss my ashes goodbye. And I'll expound more upon that. I'm just going to read through the notes before I cover too much of it. Because the first part of the song, I feel like, is a little more, oh, wow, I spelled morning like the British. Did I? Oh, well, there's a U in it. That's how you spell morning. No, there's some things I spell with a U, and morning is spelled with a U, but sometimes like theater, I always spell R-E. But the first part's more, I feel like it's a little more general. It's talking about how when a loved one dies, the mourning process is, you're allowed to mourn, but it's not a time for you to bring back and dwell on the memories that you had with the person, because you're not going to have any more memories with that person. You're supposed to kind of almost wrap it up, like all of the feelings, and say goodbye instead of dwelling, because, that's almost something I do, which is probably not the most healthy thing at times, but by the time I hit the funeral, I sound like an asshole when I say this. I don't usually cry at the funeral because I've already, like, kind of accepted everything. I still feel bad and I still get choked up, but I always looked at the funeral like, just like that's the final bow on the package. Like, that's wrapping it up. And I like what David Gold was saying about this. Like, when someone dies, you just, remember them, resolve the feelings, say goodbye. Because if you sit on those feelings, you're just gonna keep dwelling. And as I put in here, like, we know life is just short, and when we dwell, it comes hard to understand how life, but it's hard, and we've all cried a lot. And when he dies, he just says, kiss his ashes goodbye, move on. Because if you dwell on things for too long, you miss things that are in the present. And I think I mentioned that in Adora Vivos, that those things, I said these songs kind of connect in a way that, like Adora Vivos, yeah, you mourn someone, you remember them, but if you stay too long, you start missing the present. And then when you miss the present, it kind of keeps happening because more people are going to, as you get older, more people die. And it's a snowball. Like, you're just going to keep missing more people, like, kind of the way you have now. And I feel like that's what some of this song is kind of hearkening back to, how we don't quite appreciate the people that are alive now. It's always when they die when we remember them, or when we talk nice about them. But
I was going to kind of hop in here real quick. I've given a lot.
Go ahead.
I appreciate that. I've given some thoughts a lot here, to my own mortality. Songs like these and this album definitely bring mortality right up to the forefront, and how people react to such things. And man, I'm going to kind of tie this into the digital age that we live in. I sit there and read Facebook, just like you probably do. I probably read it more because I'm homebound with my 3 kids in the evening. I ain't got nothing else to do. But I'm going through, and I started realizing that there are people I went to school with that maybe I've said, I don't know, 100 words to in my entire life, but I'm friends with them on Facebook. And what I end up doing is, let's say somebody they knew passed away that I had no idea who they passed away or who it was that passed away. But I feel such, I feel such empathy about that. Obviously if you're a caring person, you don't want somebody that and Facebook kind of brings that to the forefront. I may, in the previous days, I wouldn't even have never even heard that this guy had passed away and who it was. But then, what I end up doing? I end up going on there and I'm like, oh crap, this guy that passed away had a Facebook page, and I click on that and I torture myself by looking at all the things that, all the nice things that people said about this person that I had no clue about. And it really struck me that, we are going to be faced. This Facebook age, Facebook started back in 2000, so 2010 or 2005. I can't remember, but we'll just say it's 2010. Was it before 2010? So
yeah, I want to say it was like 2007. Let me make sure, because I was on the internet there. Yeah.
Well, me and you, we're part of an age. We're part of an age where people are, people are connecting where that never would have connected before, ever. Before the internet, but with Facebook, it's a lot easier. And there's going to be a point where, you're going to see a lot of, I don't want to say you're not going to see it, but it's going to be easier for somebody to become upset, especially if death bothers you. If death is something that bothers you, just for somebody, just finding out, and it's all over the news, we know that already, but then the internet is infamous for it. But, I want to, in about 10, 15 years, dude, when I'm like 50 or 55, 60, and I'm part of, well, okay, make that, that's, let's say 20 to 30 years. Okay. When I'm 55, 60. But it's going to be, and I got Facebook sitting there and I'm watching all my friends die on Facebook. That's going to be some fucked up shit, man. It is going to be some fucked up shit, because we're sitting here I'm watching people that Roddy Piper, just passed away. Dusty Rhodes just passed away. All these people that, we love and respect. We you know, it's going to be instant. The night Roddy Piper died, I found out with you know, about 4 or 5 other people within seconds of after it got released. I'm sitting there mowing the yard and I get that. But anyway, this song, it preaches a great message, because even though I personally believe in an afterlife and I want to see somebody, you know, I want to see somebody transition to it, he's not trying to drive that into us that, oh, there's no afterlife, don't worry about me. What he's basically trying to say to, you know, is that, hey, don't dwell on these things. And it's going to be tougher as the years go on. And just like you said, as we continue to get older, you start to see more and more people pass away. It's something to try to do. David Gold is preaching a great message here, but it is something awfully tough to do. It's very tough to try and do something like that. I mean, I could never see myself looking at somebody and just saying, you know, you mentioned wrapped it up with a bow. There are people out there that are just crippled when somebody passes away that they know for years. I mean, my wife still tears up when we mention her grandpa. And that's been, dude, that was 97. That was 97, man. I mean, seriously. So it's a good message, but I interrupted you, man. Go ahead and continue.
Oh, hey, no, that was shit. That was good stuff. It's true, because, and though I do wonder if one thing that's missing, because, well, David Gold, he died at 31, is time. As you were talking about, you know, these things pile up. Well, I was thinking when you hit 55 or 60, I think it would be hard to not notice and worry about death, because everybody's hitting that age. Your heroes at that age are dead or dying all the time. Like, it's just everybody's going to die. But I think the advice in this song is pretty good, that don't dwell on that, because as we get into part 2, you know, he's cursing people who think of the earth as their vanity plate, you know, some place for them to be buried, forever remembered, and you know, a place for their remains, as he puts it, and not a place that gives life and takes life freely, just as Keeper of the Ledger said. See,
yeah, tying it back.
And yeah, there's like this album really, it's really just a web. And again, this is like the part that I start kind of, I was at work the other day wondering this, that he says he don't want any sort of monument for him, and that he hasn't been one to want them or ever need them once he's gone. And then when he's gone, he dies, just keep him out of sight, mind, and just let the memory fade away. Just like how his body is on the earth, just let it rot away and die. I was thinking about that at work, and I was like, you know, I really want to, this before we even planned this podcast, I'm like, man, I'd love to do a podcast on this album. But then I was like, technically, aren't we doing what he said not to do? When David, like, yeah, don't do any sort of monument to me. And I feel like us doing that is that.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
very ironic.
Yeah. But I feel like, I don't think you would, I don't know if you just for doing that, but when you have rich content, things that have a lot of weight and a lot of meaning to them, I think it's almost a crime not to revisit them and go back and then look at the author and go, okay, you know, that's really powerful stuff. It's really good. I really, the way that David Gold put it, that, you know, he's not saying it in some sort of, just forget about me. Oh no, it's just like, you know, well, you know, I got to live my life. And then when it's gone, I'm just like everyone else. Just let it go.
Yeah.
And I think it's just admirable, really. You know, most people would not think that. Most people, like, you know, like, fuck yeah, when I die, put me up a fucking statue. Him, he's like, well, no. Yeah.
And as a songwriter, you know, I mean, it's almost kind of a circular type of meta kind of mind bender when you're thinking most people who write a song, they put a song out there. The purpose of that song is so that it will live on. People will hear it. and learn from it. But then the song itself tells you, well, don't bother with remembering me. And we're talking about, just like you said, we're doing this podcast. It's kind of a circular type of thing, but again, it's his message that he wanted to get people wanted to get across to people.
Yeah, it is circular things because, like you said, I know he didn't write this knowing he was going to die, months later. But it just kind of, that's almost like a cruel irony. Well, because this album talks so much about death and the afterlife that he's not around to, enjoy any of the accolades or respect from it. It's just, it's a little ominous, a little creepy at times. But
yeah,
you said, most people, it's weird that it's almost odd that someone puts a song out that's saying "Don't remember me," even though that's what technically music is for. But so it really makes, because David Gold seemed like a really I said it makes you think.
Yeah,
I was saying, David Gold, he seems like a really interesting guy. He seemed like a really nice guy, and it's just just kind of seeing the way the guy he thinks through his music is just fascinating. Could have met the guy,
I can't wait to go back and listen to some of the earlier stuff. I definitely want to hit Woods 4 and give it a good listen. So, I know you're familiar with all that, but I mean, this particular album is just like, it is definitely, it's so fitting what we're looking at here and the way it actually goes. And of course, the next track that we're going to get into, was alternate ending a bonus track, or was that definitely on the album?
Oh no, that was the last track.
That is okay. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, there's no bonus. There was no bonus.
I thought it was kind of, the next one we're going to get into, Finality, is, I mean, we're talking, that's definitely death. So, but I don't want to jump ahead, man. What else you got to say about this one?
That's actually all I had. And I think we really kind of dug the well kind of dry for a little bit on it. It's one of those, I think we got a different group of people together with it and just listen to everybody's interpretation. I think we just get even a richer conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But all right, that's the song I just always like to think about, because it's that circular argument of, well, the song specifically, don't put a monument to me, don't remember me, just let me die, focus on the present, and we're doing this. But human nature, right?
That's right, dude. There's no way. I mean, we've been doing this for what, millennia, where we basically look at the words that came before us and try to learn from that. How else are we going to develop as a society if we're not going to sit there and learn from those that come before us and, try to do our best to interpret what somebody's trying to tell us. And it's not like we're going to, unfortunately, we're not going to go away from that anytime soon. What kind of a society would we be living in? I mean, it'd be way different if the words that he put here were actual fact and truth, where people did not, it'd be so different. I mean, religion would be, wow, would religion be something, a whole different animal, that we're not glorifying somebody in death. I mean, that's pretty much what the Christian faith is based upon. It's a philosophically. It's a great philosophy. Thank you. I put the wrong. How do they? Something like that. It's a great message, and it's a great, something like English, please. It's a great message, and it's something to really give a good, give yourself a good few minutes to actually think about what this song's saying, because there's a lot to it.
Yeah, and I think it's before we get on to Finality, which is I feel like their most just accessible song they've ever released. I know accessible is usually a kind of a dirty word at times, but it was really great. This album was released with this style because you'll find as you get further back into their discography, it's more rooted in black metal, which I think, besides grindcore, is the least accessible genre because it's much more focused on just aggression and just grimness. There's not a whole lot of the things that bring people to pop music, which is happy, fun, dancing. No, black metal is none of that. It's the exact opposite. But I feel like this album released is something that's more rooted in like doom metal. That at least can get people past the barrier. It'll get past that barrier, and I feel like that lyrically, this is the best album they've ever released. And I know that's saying something because they've got some really really lyrically deep albums. They get better as they go on. I still feel, but I just think it's really fortunate this album was released in this style.
I hear you.
But yeah. So that being said, let's go ahead and get on to my favorite song of the album, bar none. This song just gets me deep down every time. I sing along with it like, man, tears down my eyes like I'm Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star. Just yeah.
All right.
Yeah, dude.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead. This is what I would think would have been the last track, but I almost feel like it's smartly done. Here's track 10 off of This Is Finality. Oh,
One of those songs I wanted to play all the way, dude. I wanted to play it all.
And the fade, and that fade works perfect.
What a great song. You know, I think I saw, I don't know if you were talking to, it was me and Mark in our little Facebook music stuff chat. I can't remember if you were mentioning this song in there or not, but I have a little bit of I think our views are going to be a little bit different. Although we know what this guy believes. We know what he believes. We know that he believes that there's no afterlife. He believes that is the fact, that is the case. But this is a song that exemplifies the struggle between believing that there is one, hoping that there is one, and probably doing your best to reconcile the fact that you know there is not one. It would, you know, I want to take, you know, if there's one thing that I hope for and yearn for, is that when I leave this earth, I will be reunited with my loved ones on the other side. And that, to me, is what he was speaking about here, is the fact that, you know, just where he's saying, could I still miss you then in the time and space after life, when no one is searching anymore and where we are nowhere to be found? I don't know what awaits for us after this. I think it is obviously one of life's biggest mysteries. What is life like after death, if there is life after death? And finality, this being titled Finality, is just kind of drives home what he believes, in the fact that once we are dead, that's it. There's nothing that goes on. Although it seems like when he sings this song, it feels like to me like he is already, you know, like the person that is supposed to be singing this song, this character, is, I feel like this person's already dead. Because he's saying at the very end, he says, I will wait forever. I wait. Well, you know, the whole song is about him trying to find someone out, and you're not going to wait forever in this life. The only, you know, if the afterlife is forever, that's where you're going to be waiting forever. So I thought that maybe at some point the person that is singing this song is actually dead. But the thing is, of course, that conflicts with the fact that, okay, why would he be singing a song about the afterlife when he doesn't believe it? You want to talk about circular arguments? You should see my brain right now, because I'm going backwards and forwards. I don't know which way to go. But that's kind of my take on it. This song, okay, I'll put it in 2 words. This song confuses me, and I'll leave it at that. Coop, I know you friend can enlighten me a little bit, because you've given this song a lot of thought.
Yeah, actually, the next song is the one I feel like is the song where the speaker is hoping there's something.
Okay.
Because I feel like this song is not the speaker is dead. I feel like the speaker is talking to someone who has already passed away.
Has passed. You know? Okay.
So, yeah. I'll go ahead and just read the notes before I get more into this. I said, you know, when someone we love dies, we're lost and forgotten physically by the earth. But the question that should be asked is if love is strong enough and that feelings can be felt even when there's nothing, you know. If we die, there's no afterlife, then we don't have any hope of seeing our loved ones again. But, you know, the speaker hits that realization of, at least I feel like, that when you get married, it's, you know, till death do you part. But some people say just together forever. And that didn't happen. You know, they weren't together forever. She died. So he's just going to miss her for the rest of his life. And I feel like the speaker kind of realizes, well, he doesn't think there's no eternity that he's going to miss her during. So he's kind of left hopeless with, you know, his heart knowing there's no way to see his love again, which is funny because we just almost funny in ways we talked about the last song, how you're supposed to let go.
Yeah.
But I said it's not as doing something that he knew that wasn't going to come again, because he's still heartbroken, and he, you know, even at the end of his life, I think that the character, at least talking in this, died thinking about that person and still loving her. And even though it's futile to wait for her in the afterlife, he's still going to do so longingly. Like, you know, I guess when you thinking about it when you die, you know, even if you believe there's nothing, I guess in your last moments you can hope. And I think that's what you were kind of referencing there, that, you know, he's kind of hoping maybe there's something a little bit. But I feel like this is a song sung to somebody who's dead, wondering to that dead person, you know, well, is our love going to last in the afterlife? And I feel like that's something, I don't think I've ever heard a song really think about that. You know, one that talks about, because, you know, it's always like, oh, we'll be together forever, you know, we'll see each other again. And this song's like, well, you know, will we? I don't think we will, but will we? We could. Like, you know, even if we don't, like, you know, I'll still hope. Even if, like, you know, you're gonna hope for it. And I feel like that's like the finality that it's talking about, the finality of death. That it's final, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's like a finality for someone's love for another person.
That's true.
Yeah, and, you know, looking back at the last song and some of the other ones on this album, it really, I don't know if he's necessarily preaching against, because I was just kind of thinking, like, necessarily preaching against still loving, having love for someone when they're gone, just dwelling on their memories, like, you know, just living your life obsessed with them. You can still have that love for someone in their heart, just don't dwell. And perhaps that's what the speaker in this song is doing, just kind of living with that little hole in the heart, knowing that his one love is, you know, gone. They didn't get to spend their lives together. They didn't get to grow old together. I guess for all we know, it's an old man, but, you know, they didn't get out their lives. This one still. And I feel like this song's just fucking beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Like, I haven't talked as much about the music, because I mean, I'm usually much more about music, but yeah, there's so much lyrical content in this. But I haven't really got to touch on this.
The piano in this song is haunting. Yeah, the way that his voice goes in along with the rest of the instruments, the way he's singing, yeah, dude, I can't agree more. It is a beautiful song. It's this would be something that I wouldn't have any problem sharing with anybody. I don't care what the message is behind it. It is an absolutely wonderful song to listen to.
Yeah, it is, and it's one of those I just feel like every time I go back to it, it just hits me a little more. You know, there is that person in your life, even though, like I said, I try to be at least, you know, kind of okay with someone dying by the time the funeral is. You know, I give it a few days, but, you know, there's still somebody in your life, no matter who. Like, the song's going to remind you of them eventually, because there's going to be somebody that you didn't want to get, that you wish you could still, you know, live with and create new memories with and share your life with, that you're just not going to. Yeah. And that's I feel like that's finality, and it's looking at the next. We'll get to that unless you have anything to add. I almost feels like the next song is the person, like, perhaps like what they're saying to themselves after this, like after they've done talking to their loved one in the casket or what have you, or at the graveside, kind of like their life words. Yeah, that's anything you want to add to finality?
No, man, I think you did an awesome job. I think you hit the nail on the head. Great song. And albeit it feels pretty damn depressing, it's still, I think it's humanity. There's so much humanity in that song. That's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Because you can't, I don't care if, I don't want to say I don't care if you're atheist, but if you're an atheist and you don't believe, sometimes it's tough not to hope that maybe there is something like that. I could see that being a conflict with somebody who, believes. I'm sure that a non-believer, either that doesn't believe in God, doesn't believe in an afterlife, whatever, I'm sure they struggle as much with faith as someone who does actually believe in God and believe in faith, because I'm human. I question my faith every day. It's not like I actively sit there and think about it, but there's stuff that comes up. That's the way humanity is. And same thing with Mr. Gold here, David Gold. He's probably sitting there thinking, well, I strictly believe that there's nothing after this, but man, it would be awesome if there was. And I think this song kind of encapsulates that. So that's all I gotta say.
All right. So after the finality of track 10, here comes an alternate ending of sorts. Here's the final track off of Woods 5, Gray Skies and Electric Light. Here's the ending.
All right. Alternate ending. I think it is very fitting that they put this at the end. It felt like there was a lot of, just looking at the titles, it reminded me of a DVD because you get your director's cut alternate ending, and you're curious as to well, how did the director really want this to end? Or maybe there was some other reason as to how the director put this in there. So maybe this was the original ending and they changed it because the test audience decided it was going to be, they didn't want it that way. However, whatever, the director's vision. And maybe that's kind of what he's trying to say here. Like, okay, we've already had the end of the song, or we already had the end of this album. That was finality. And alternate ending is his way of saying, well, I'll tell you what, here's a little bit of a different way of looking at it. Now, lyrically looking at this, I just noticed Coop, I don't know, you looking at dark lyrics? Is that the site you usually peruse?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is, but I know these lyrics so well, I don't even have to look.
I know that. I've got to look them up and make sure I'm on the same page. But and definitely it's not like this guy's hard to understand. This guy does an awesome job of getting the point across. But I definitely want to be able to make sure I understand where he's going for. But if you look at the way this song is structured, it's kind of crazy because it's almost like in an upside down pyramid. So it's like and it's kind of like as the end grows, there's shorter stanzas, I guess is the word. Is that the correct word, or shorter verses? And things get shorter and shorter and shorter until it's finally holding on, and that's the final two words of the song, final verse. But I think it's neat how that is, because it's obviously it's going toward the end. It's going toward the end of whoever this person's life is or whatever. Now, as for the story that it's telling, it sounds like he's trying to get across the fact that, one of the things that stands out to me where he says, in the end, was there anyone to share in your joy? Okay. That is, I think, the crux of this song, where he's trying to get across that, the life that, maybe it's the crux of this album, I don't know, but the life that you're put here on earth to live, or the life that you were so inclined to be, to have, the important part is to share joy with others. That's really all that matters in life. When I pass on, I want my kids to remember the happy times that we've had. I want somebody to have, and it doesn't have to be when I pass on. I want them to be able to have happy times right now. I want them to be able to have a good time and a joyful time. And that's really all that matters. Now, it sounds like you mentioned how this character in this song, it sounds like he's coming to reconcile with what's happened with the person that's passed. And just like, the immediate verse after that, I woke up one day and realized it was already over. It sounds like he's waking up and saying, man, I have grieved and grieved and grieved. And then what I finally realized is the fact that I've wasted my life grieving while you were gone. So it's kind of a twofold type of deal, what he's trying to say here. The other thing that I can, kind of stuck out to me is it sounds like as he's coming to an end, as he's starting to die, he's actually going back and kind of, I wouldn't say rewriting his life, because it's not the case, but he's going back and, he wants to change the way things are with the way things had happened. And I don't know how he's going about that. I don't know if he's telling somebody a different version of his life story, because, he mentions making amendments to the dream / story, changing the ending as I would like it to be. He's going back and rewriting stuff, and he wants to be able to say it kind of feels like he wants to say it was all good. He realizes that all this time that he's wasted was, it should not have been wasted I assume with it, maybe not grieving, or maybe he just wasted the time that he had with this other person and didn't have the joyful time that he should have. Instead, he was focusing on, modern life, as we've seen this theme throughout this album. Maybe he was focusing on that and not having good times with his significant other. And now he's regretting it and trying to go back and if he had the power, he could go back and rewrite it so that he actually had more significant, joyful moments with his girlfriend, wife, or what have you. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there because I've talked for a little while. Coop, I'm done. Go ahead, man.
All right. I thought it's a nice way to look at it. I took a little bit of a slightly different approach. Like I feel like what he's rewriting is maybe the finality of the last song, which I'll get to that. I just said I said that it's almost different because he's realizing that there was someone he had, and people never find that person, the person that he had, that person that he just wanted to share his life and everything with. And that, one day he just finds out, their lives together were over. And I think that harkens back to one of the lyrics in one of the previous songs. It's talking about, curse those people for living so long. People live, they keep living, and you take the fact that they're alive for granted. You don't think about they're going to die. You don't want to think about they're going to die. I don't. So I don't want to think, my parents are going to die. I don't think about that. You just keep living. But then when you time when they do die unexpectedly, you're kind of left like unprepared. And I feel like that's the speaker of the song. That's the speaker is just really unprepared, the person telling this story. And but he lost, I was kind of just going through it. I was saying that he lost his love, like the person that pretty much completed him, and he woke up one morning and realized he was pretty dead inside. But that perhaps he would try in his heart to make changes to the ending in his life, perhaps his thoughts, and that's what I was thinking the alternate ending is, because the finality was there is no afterlife at all. There's nothing, maybe they'll see each other, he can hope for it, but he's not. And I feel like the alternate ending is not necessarily accepting that there's a God or afterlife, but just perhaps maybe accepting that they do have a chance, instead of just kind of faintly hoping, that really, really wanting them to be together. Maybe that'll do it, because I kind of interpreted part of the song that they live together still in his memories, that they're still like in his mind, she's kind of still alive that way. And those memories they'll still be together there. And, they'll still be there as long as he's alive. That's towards the end, it's talking about holding. He knows that it's futile to want to live, to keep on living forever, to hold those memories. But he was going to hold on to the dream that maybe he could, and that he didn't want his life ending yet, because he wanted those memories to stay with him just a bit longer, just so he could be with her, just in case there's no ending. That's the way he wanted. I guess he wanted to live the rest of his life with her, still alive to him in his mind. They talk about all the time, people don't die. You're still in their memories. I feel like perhaps that's what this song is saying, because the song definitely had a different feel from the rest of the album. And what the album actually does a really good job of is, between finality and alternate ending, there's about 20 to 30 seconds of just silence.
Yeah.
And this song true. Really kind of just comes out, and you're like, oh, okay. And this song has a lot brighter of a tone to it as well. A lot of the song is, a lot of that doom metal feel to it is kind of heavy. It's heavy. It's got a lot of emotional weight.
Yeah, this one definitely feels upbeat. As soon as it kicks in, just like you were saying, just as soon as it kicks in, it feels it has that upbeat tone, like, oh wow, okay, you know, maybe something's going to happen. What's going to happen now that I look at it as a continuation, just like you were saying, a continuation of Song of Finality, which I think it is. It definitely is. I see what you're saying there, and it holds that much more of a significance for me now. So that's it's definitely. It felt like it was on purpose for sure.
Yeah, it does. I feel like that's why I feel like the alternate ending perhaps is maybe a happier realization.
Mm-hmm.
Less a happier realization than finality is, because finality feels almost like a nail in the coffin, and the ending maybe kind of feels like they're trying. It's got a hammer and trying to just kind of melt just a little.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much the album. Anything you want to add to it?
Oh man, that particular song, no, I don't have anything additionally into that song. You want me to give you my thoughts? Thoughts on on the album as a whole?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, I think it is me and you, we look at it as two different things. I think the album has a lot of positive messages coming out of it. Even though so much of it is grim and dark, and it's clearly about death. A lot of the songs, are around that. First off, the David Gold singing and the instrumentals throughout this album are the word we're going to use is beautiful. It's just they go together great. I'm not used to, I think this is the doomiest album I've ever listened to, because there's other doom albums. I'm like we talked about on the last podcast. I'm more of a stoner doom metal guy, so I think that's a lot of where my what I've listened to in the past kind of leans toward. But it's still it's as a whole, the album has just a tremendous message in regards to living your life now. That's probably the thing I take away from this the most, is that live your life, try to be as happy as possible, and make sure that you appreciate the others that you have and that you love now and not in death. Don't wait till that time's passed. Make use of the time you have on this earth, because you don't know what's coming next. David Gold doesn't know what's coming. He didn't know what was coming next. I don't know what's coming next. All I can tell you is right now you're living. At one point you're going to die. And the only thing you can be sure of is the fact that you have the opportunity to make the most of it now. That's it, man. And I think this album does a great job getting that message across.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good look at it. That I've never really exactly thought about the album as a whole. I always think of it as separate parts to a story, almost like separate chapters. Like, like we look at Lord of the Rings and those 3 books, not as one whole, like one whole being. And looking at this album as a whole, it's really packed in there. But I like the way you look at it, and I think that's the way it really is. That he's pointing out a lot of flaws in humanity, but he's also trying to tell humanity, you can still do a lot. Like, instead of focusing on death and just mourning, you need to focus on the living, love them, and you can mourn them a little when they're gone, but you just always look forward and live, instead of dwelling on the past and dwelling on people's memory and worrying about a life dying, your life crumbling before you, because it's going to happen. Like all this album, I feel like is inevitability. Like, the inevitability of death and the inevitability of, no afterlife. A lot of it is like it's preaching about an inevitable end of sorts, and there's almost sort of beauty in it, and I like it. It's like, it's probably one of the albums actually, when it came out, and I listened to it once or twice. I put it at, I think, number 20 on my top 50 of that, because I was just looking at it as face value as, okay, just another album. But now it's probably in my top 5 of all time, bar none.
Wow.
Because it's a really, really important album to me. It's got me through some just real down times. It has. I just love the album. It does so. It's one of those, people say music's there for you, and I feel like it is. As long as you pick something that, as long as you find something that kind of can speak to you when you're there and when you're not, music's always going to be there. And I feel like this album is one of those that you can just go back to. You're having a bad day, look at it, to it. You're having a good day, listen to it. That's how I can listen to doom metal all the time, because, there's a certain part of it that the heavier, slower out atmosphere of it really gets you pumped. At the same time, you can look into the lyrics and just be like, man, some deep shit.
Mm-hmm. It is, dude. I mean, there are albums out there that, I tote that, I say, okay, this album is great. Lyrically, it's wonderful. This album in particular is up there on some of my, that's up there for the tops for me when it comes to philosophical lyrics and philosophical musings. I mean, this takes the cake. It's up there for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think so. It's just one of those that you can bring back. Now, damn kitten biting my arm. Yeah, little turd. Saved his ass from outside, and all he does is want to bite me. He's really good at it. But yeah, this album is it's one of those I think you can give to anybody who's not even a metalhead. A few of the songs here, I feel like they'll at least be able to see the merit in the artistry of the music and the lyrics. It's just one of those, just all-time greats in my opinion. It's one of those. It's just a great album. I don't really see any flaws in it, which is rare. I see flaws in it. I'm a horrible person.
Just means that you have a keen eye. How's that?
That's right. I'm choosy.
You are the Karnak of the metalheads. And now I know I just threw a name at you. Do you know who Karnak is?
Karnak.
He's an Inhuman.
Okay.
He is an Inhuman.
I don't know a lot about the Inhumans.
He is.
I never really got much into.
Well, okay, I'll tell you. His power is to find the flaw in anything. That is his power.
Okay.
So you are the metalhead Karnak.
Everything's shitty.
I took it to a bad geeky level. I apologize.
Well, so that's actually, I only know a few of the Inhumans, like Black Bolt and Medusa. It's about as far as I go. I haven't focused much on them, even though I know they're going to try a thing. The universe is going to treat Inhumans a thing.
Yes, sir.
Too many of them. Just like the Legion of Superheroes. Too many of them I don't care about.
Well,
all right, yeah, I almost feel like we have to bring. We didn't even have to bring a second album with us.
We did a good job, man. I think, and honestly, this particular album deserved a two-parter. I have no problem in saying that, and spending 2.5 hours on half of an album, especially when it's this when it's this spiritual and lyrically deep, it deserves all the attention that it gets.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Shit, it's been almost ways. I mean, we don't. I mean, do you want to some block? We don't necessarily have to.
Buddy, I don't care. It's up to you. If you want to save Throssenblatt for some other time, we can do that. If you want to rock it through it, you can. I have no problem getting back on here someday. I do want to, before we make a decision, I just found it a little strange, and you might have meant to do this on purpose, but Throssenblatt has a tie to David Gold, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. Well,
what's that?
Well, I didn't necessarily mean to do it, but I kind of knew that if I were going to pick something to tie together with this album, it would have been that EP, because he played drums on it on their album. He actually named the band. So and the members of the band played on this album. So yeah.
Now, see, I had no idea about that until today, because I had to do I'm just trying to do, quick research on the tracks, because Canada 2010 is not on Spotify, and about three or four of those songs that are on that EP are not on YouTube either. I mean, I was looking for a couple that, like Misted Shores, that's negative. I can't find that anywhere. So I was like, man, I got to try and listen to these things. And there were probably about 3 or 4 songs I couldn't find. So now, again, if you want to call it now, that'll give me some time to listen to the album. So I'm all for that. And that'll give me some time to listen to the 2010 EP.
Yeah, you could do that. Well, time we're going to do it, we're just going to do the Throssenblatt 2.
Okay.
The full album. So we'll just see see where we go. But yeah, we go ahead and call it here, because if you go to Throssenblatt's band page, you can listen to all the tracks, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's their Bandcamp page.
Cool. Yeah, I saw the Bandcamp stuff, and I was wondering what that was. I didn't have a chance to click on anything, but I that was like one of the first things that popped up, and I was like, what the hell, Bandcamp? What is Bandcamp?
Yeah,
is that
Bandcamp's like a storefront page for bands.
Okay.
So that's where they release their music. They release merchandise like shirts, toques, which are toboggan. Is it toboggan? Did I say toboggans? Because
I call it toboggan. I'm from Ohio, though, so there's plenty of people that call it a scully
toboggan
or a toboggan.
Yeah,
a lot of people won't say toboggan.
They have it listed as a toque, because they're Canadian.
Toque. Is it a toque?
Is it toque?
I honestly think it's toque, and the only reason I think it is, how's it spelled?
Toque.
I think it's toque, dude. I honestly do. Of course, I have no way of confirming that or denying it. But
it could be toque.
I'm the guy who on the Terminator podcast, Mark says, "How do you say Michael's last name?" I said, "It's Bain, just like Robert Cooper's Bane." And he's like, "There's no way it's Michael Bain." And so for the rest of the podcast, we called him Michael Blemmenschmidt, or we couldn't pronounce his name. Then sure enough, the next day I find out the guy's name is pronounced Bean. So the whole time my whole life, just like Woods of Ypres, I've been pronouncing it Michael Bain instead of Michael Bean. Michael Bean in Terminator.
I mean, it's Sean Bean, it's Sean Bond, it's Sean Bean. What have you?
What have you? What have you?
Yeah, what have you? What have you? But yeah, Bandcamp, that's actually where you can get Throssenblatt stuff. Like you can get the digital versions of Canada 2010, which is not available in CD anymore. I'm hoping they'll release it on CD, because they've, I think it's a Lost 40 recording Lost 40 Recordings are the people that are releasing their new the EP, the vinyl version of that demo. They're releasing it through there, and I think they're also releasing some new shirts as well. But that's where you find all of their stuff, because they're really small. Dawson Bot are still a pretty small band. I only think they have only 1,000 some. Only 37, about 3,750 fans on Facebook. So still a pretty small community.
Fan base.
And it's kind of gotten bigger. Yeah. But yeah, it's still pretty cool, and hopefully when we get another spare week, I don't know if we're gonna get one next. I don't know if next week was one Mark said the street, but we'll have to talk. We'll have to talk to the old man Radulich, and yeah, next time, old man Radulich. Next time we'll probably do. Well, I don't know. I'm kind of getting into plugs a bit, but yeah, we'll probably do Thross and Blot 2, or we could do. Well, actually, yeah, we'll probably do 2, because if we did Canada 2010, that's 8 songs, and Thross and Blot's main album is 12. So we couldn't do 2001, and it's almost rare to find an open spot for the two of us to get together and do our stuff. So yeah, I think next time we do an album together, it'll be Thross and Blot 2. But we'll go ahead and heck, I'll edit the description on the podcast, because I edited it right before it started too, because I saw the. When I saw the description, you're like, shit, we're in a hurry. I think I'm like, no.
Yeah, well, we can get back in there. I actually, while you were talking, I just changed the title to Woods of Ypres, Woods 5, Part 2. So that's changed. And go back. You put in the description. We can do that afterwards. Absolutely. There's no problem doing that. So
yeah,
get in there and spice it up, man. Spice it up.
I will. It'll be spicier than the after party of a Taco Bell binge.
Any upper deckers in that?
Oh, the uppers. Yes, plenty of upper deckers. Yeah. It's like, yeah, Nick, you need to take an upper decker when you leave your that shitty workplace for last time. What's that? And I told him. He goes, oh, that's evil. I'm like, isn't it? I love it.
That is some evil shit, dude. Evil shit. I honestly did not learn as to what. I did not know what the hell. I've probably heard that term for 2 or 3 years. Didn't know what the heck it was about. Then I thought to myself, I have Google. I need to figure this shit out. I figured that shit out.
Good job. Good job. Self high five.
Self high five, pun intended. Hell yes. All right, man. Well, yeah, I look forward to it, dude. We'll figure out a good time to do that Thross and Blot album, and we'll kill it on that one. I don't have really much anything else to say other than we're going to get into plugs, dude. We'll go ahead and plug it up.
Hell yeah. You can go ahead.
All right, dude. Well, you can catch me on Twitter at Stiznarchy. I do a comic book podcast on this very network called Source Material. We weren't here last week. Kind of taking it easy because I have actually been doing a lot of interviews. I've been taking some inspiration from the Casual Heroes and a couple other podcasts. We have a Comic-Con coming up August 5th, not 15th. Yeah, 15th. Yeah, it's Friday already. August 15th here at the River City Comic-Con's coming to Marietta. So what I'm going to do is, what I have been doing is interviewing a lot of the vendors, the exhibitors, as Jordan calls them, the exhibitors who are going to be there, and putting together a quick reel to support and promote the upcoming River City Comic-Con. So come Monday, I've got a lot of editing to do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm going to put together this beautiful promo reel for everybody. It's probably going to be about an hour and a half, and it's going to drop Monday morning to promote the upcoming River City Comic-Con. And there's going to be a lot of fun guests on there. I'm just going to go ahead and plug the Figure Forecast, because those motherfuckers are hilarious. Coop, I know you're a busy man, but if you ever have the opportunity, check out the Figure Forecast. They are they do basically a wrestling podcast, but they will do commentary episodes where they sit down, you queue up something on the network and watch it. But they also do some crazy shit like WrestleMania and the Royal Jumble, where their own little world of wrestling comes into view. And I had the opportunity to interview all four of those guys for probably about a good 20 minutes there in the past week. And oh man. Well, what was funny was I told him to keep it family friendly. And then I'm the guy that ends up cussing most of the fucking episode. So that's how that worked out. They're a lot of fun to listen to. Trying to think of what else here. So watch out for source material. Check out Twitter, SourceMacCast. Ronnie and I are coming back, I think, the 17th. And we're going to have Old Man Radulich on to talk Secret Wars issue 5, because that releases this coming Wednesday on the 12th. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I've got to get Vinland Saga here and start reading like vehemently, because that's coming up for me and you, Coop. I think that's September or October, I think, in there somewhere. I've got it on the schedule somewhere.
And it's a slow read, and it's not one of those slow reads like, oh, it's boring. It's just there's a lot.
There's a lot.
I mean,
that scares me.
I mean, each issue's probably about 25 pages, I'd say.
Okay, well, I'm down.
One of those books you'll stare at the artwork for a while too.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna be cramming that here pretty soon.
Yeah, it's kind of gory. Spoiler.
That's all right. That's okay. So anyway, yeah, we've got that coming up. You can follow me if you guys have the Periscope app. I've been having so much fun with the Periscope app. Coop, did I mention that to you last podcast? Have you had the opportunity yet to check it out?
I have not.
Okay.
I don't have a Periscope app. I don't have a phone apps on it.
Okay, then. Well, I don't know if they have anything out there on the computer. For some reason, I'm thinking there might be, but anyway, it's just basically a way of going live to your Twitter followers and doing videos. And they stay on a server for about 24 hours and they go away. So tonight I went to an auction and I had an auction rant. Now, Coop, me and you talked auctions before. When an auctioneer puts that they're going to have comics at an auction, I'm going to tell you what I expect. Okay. And you tell me if I'm crazy for expecting this. All right. I expect that auction. No. I expect if you say that there's going to be comics at that auction, I expect there to be fucking comics at the auction. Okay. That's what I expect. When I drove a half hour to an auction tonight, said comics there, no comics whatsoever. I was pissed. So I did a little Periscope rant, and but been having a lot of fun with that. So if anybody's interested, you can check it out. Check out the Radulich Broadcasting Network page, Facebook page. Give it a like, as every podcast that comes up is going to be on there. I try to do my best to keep a good list of what's come out this year right at the top. So if anybody's interested in it, you can go check it out. And we usually try to post stuff on there too when we're expected to have some episodes upcoming. So we try to keep everybody in the know. Other than that, man, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think so. Cheap seats come Tuesday. Me and Jason Teasley are supposed to be breaking down the AFC, the whole AFC. Now, we're going to have to start taking odds on if Teasley can stay awake till the end of the podcast, because it's a lot of teams to get through. And if we start at 10 o'clock, I'm saying by 10:30, whatever's at the bottom is going to go. We're going to cover it in 5 minutes, because he's going to want to get the hell off there. But that is it, dude. I can't think of anything else, man. I just want to tell you that my local pawn shop owner, the one guy that I know that has a pawn shop around here, actually passed away a couple weeks back. So I thought I would share that with you, Robert Cooper.
That makes me sad. Were you able to check out his place?
I've never been there. I assume it's still there. Nobody said that it's closed or anything. At least I haven't heard. The only thing that made me think about it was that when I was at this auction. Okay, this auction was supposed to be an antique auction where they were liquidating everything, but there were like 4 fucking Nintendo DSs sitting there. Yeah, exactly. But there's 4 Nintendo DSs there. But so I'm like, well, wait a second.
For the right price.
Well, okay. You want to know what the price was? The price was $55 for the DS XL. Nope. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. The other DSs went for. I think the other DSs went for $35 to $40, and the guy that bought them bought all 3 of them for I think $35-$40 a piece. So and these were used. How much you're
going to get for going them? So.
Well, how I tie this back into the pawn shop is those things were at a pawn shop and didn't sell. You know what the sticker price was on them? $25 fucking dollars. So people were paying double.
Shit, that's a steal.
I know, dude. People were paying double what it was originally for. So, and these things didn't sell at the pawn shop. They go to an auction, they spend double what they were for. So it was just crazy.
That's the actual going price on them.
Well, it shouldn't be at an auction.
That's the going price.
That's not.
Well, that's the going price on like all the places I go to.
Oh, yeah. So anyway,
doing my cord.
Uh-oh.
Damn kidding.
But other than that, man, that's it. I think we should say some words of condolences for Mark Radulich having to go and endure Fantastic Four. I hope he made it through well. I did offer him. I said, why don't you call in on your own show and you can maybe vent a little bit if it really upsets you that bad. But never heard from him, so it must not have broke his heart too much.
Yeah, probably not. I'm sure he said. He actually said he stood up and clapped at the end.
No, he said people got up and clapped. He did not. He said
he said he got up and clapped.
No, he said people got up and clapped.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no. He said people actually got up and clapped. And of course, I think Brodigan, or what's his name, Brodigan piped in there and said they probably clapped because it was over. Yeah. They probably clapped because it was over.
Thing isn't wearing.
What's that?
God, this movie's fucked. The Thing's not wearing any pants.
Oh boy.
What is he? Podcast for us?
The Thing's thing.
I think for us. That's the thing we don't wear pants.
That's true. He fits right in. Pantsless aggression.
Pantsless aggression. We are white.
Hey, before you get into plugs, Coop, thanks again for letting me talk this with you. I've told you that 1,000 times on Messenger or whatever. This is a great album, and I want to thank you for sharing it with me because it does have a lot of great deep meaning, and the fact that it's your favorite also that speaks even much more volume to me since you've let me come on here and talk about it with you.
Hey, thanks for coming on, man. I would have never gotten to do this album with anyone else. That's for sure. And the fact you were like, fuck yeah, I'll listen to it. And
fuck yeah.
Not only listen to it, but embrace and came with a totally different on art. It's just, I love that. It's wonderful. Yeah. And, I can't wait for the next one we do because it's going to be fucking awesome. Oh, I can't wait for Vinland Saga now because when we do Vinland Saga, oh boy. Because I know you're doing like, what, six issues? Mm-hmm. 6 issues at a time? Yeah, this is, I'll have to figure out a cutoff point. Probably issue 100.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, well, there's a certain point to where you reach there's a new story. Because if we did the initial 50 issues, there's like a certain turn that the series takes that really it's different. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But getting into my play, don't have all that many at this point because, well, yeah, school starts in 2 weeks, and unfortunately, the Sentai Rider podcast didn't come back like I'd hoped it would. I almost caught up on one show, and then I got behind on like 3 shows that I started this summer. Oops. And I'm G1 Climax again. Oops. I mean, at least because New Japan, they do every year, G1 Climax. It's like, it's like the World Cup of New Japan. You got 2 blocks, and the group split into 2, and winner of Group A and Block A and Block B face for pretty much a title shot at WrestleMania. This year they're doing shows, and they have the Block A wrestle one day, Block B wrestle the next, the following day, the next show, and they only do an hour and a half of the matches or G1 shows. Like last year, where there were 11 shows that were 3 hours. Wow. That was torture. Jeez. I mean, I love wrestling, but trying to sit through trying to power through that was shit. Yeah, that kind of hurt. But I like this format a lot better.
Is there storytelling going on in this? I mean, is there other than what's in the matches? Is there story? Okay.
In New Japan, it's much more about Japanese wrestling. A lot of time, the story is the match. A lot of the storytelling is done through maybe like the promo afterwards, but their stories are built upon who wins and who loses. But WWE hasn't figured out in a while. I get so tired of WWE. But for one of the shows, Kazuchika, one of the biggest stars, he was losing to Bad Luck, who is the wrestling equivalent of NyQuil, at least in New Japan. He's not great, but the storyline was based around, he lost he lost in the tournament for the New Japan Cup, and then he lost the next 2 house shows. And he was kind of he couldn't get over this guy. He finally beat him on the house show before the pay-per-view. And at the pay-per-view, he finally finished him off. Because it's different in Japan. The house shows kind of count.
They mean something.
They work for angle advancement. You don't have to watch to understand shit. You can figure it out through the match. Toa and Hiroshi Tanahashi had a feud going on because Yano beat him because Yano's gimmick is that he's a troll. What he does is he takes the turnbuckle pad off in the middle of the match. He always grabs the ref and uses them as a shield. Grabs the strap so he can kick balls, and always goes for roll up and hits people with his chair because there's no DQs. Not real. Yeah, there's no DQs. So yeah, that's what he does, and he beat Tanahashi in the New Japan Cup, which is a little just a tournament they do in. Beat him by when Tanahashi went to go off the ropes, pulling him down and pinning him. And that created a feud of they would do tag matches against one another, and then finally at the May pay-per-view, Tanahashi beat him, and again that came back a little in the G1 Climax because they were in the same groups. They paid. It's really interesting, and thanks to Sean for letting me use his New Japan World, because unlike last year where Daily Motion had people that would upload the matches, we do not have anyone doing it because they're getting stuff taken down because it's their but still it still sucks. But yeah, it's I've been watching a lot of that, an hour every day or 2 or in a row. It kind of eats up all my time for watching everything else. But Sentai Rider podcast, we review Tokusatsu, Kamen Rider, Power Rangers, Super Sentai, all that stuff. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Sentai Rider podcast. That is SENTAIRI podcast. This Cooperative Multiplayer podcast, which is Sean Garber and Mark Morrison. I show up on occasion. Find them on Spreaker.com/Wrestling to the Max. I'm pretty sure that's the page. I think tomorrow night, if I get off in time, to be on their the football to football podcast, where that's Sean Garmer's podcast, where he does soccer. He does every season pretty much. He loves soccer, so he watched all the World Cup stuff and did podcasts on each one. Dang. dedicated. And if I can make it, we'll be doing an NFC South preview, just an hour. Me, him, and probably Daniel Anderson, and maybe his pal Gary. I love Gary. Me and Gary are trouble when we're together. But, I'll be previewing the Panthers, of course. And hopefully Saturday night, once I get done watching, not this Saturday, it's next Saturday, when the G1 climax is the finals, hopefully I'll be on that podcast. That'll be next Saturday night, probably about midnight. It'll be just one huge blowout because it's something I'm really excited for. I don't know who's going to win. There's a lot of winners that they could have that I could see as legit. So I'm pretty see where it goes. And so next Saturday, we should be on that. I should be on that. As for this podcast, Metal Hammer of Doom, I don't know what Mark wants to do next. We had Lamb of God, and he said no, so we did this. I don't remember if he said next week is open. If it is, we'll see what's up. Maybe we'll do Throw Some Blot. Maybe and that's what we'll do probably because Mark will be at NXT if it's open. I remember one of the NXT shows is he's not going to be here for, so it's open. But yeah, that's probably, if it's open, it'll probably be Throw Some Blot. If not, we'll have to talk to Mark, figure out what's going on. But yeah, listening, thank you for listening to 4.5 hours of us talking about one album. I realized it's probably a good thing.
If they ain't sick of us yet, we're golden, man.
Yeah, if it's I almost think it's a blessing that we got cut off at the end of last week. Like it made for a really awkward end of the podcast and kind of downer. But we spent an hour just introing the podcast and talking about 2 songs. Yeah, that's impressive. That's like a new record.
That's the way we roll, man.
So I'll definitely be sending this. Yeah, that is. We expound and expand upon our knowledge.
Indeed.
Thank you, Jesse. My beautiful lady friend Savannah, who's totally going to be listening to this later because she was listening, but she had to go to bed because she has to get up at 5 a.m. Hi. Thank you for listening as well. She's listened to almost all these live.
Cool.
She loves my podcasts. Yeah, dude, coolest thing ever. I've been getting her to watch Japanese wrestling with me because I don't know if you use Google, but it's Google's version of Skype. And
yeah, I've seen it.
You can watch YouTube with people on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Makes for a great time. Makes for like the whole Skype date thing kind of something new because we've been watching The Tick. Which, if you haven't watched The Tick, go watch that. The 90s cartoon, all that's on YouTube. It's amazing. It's even better now that I'm an adult. Yeah. Like when the letter mouse called American Made a Jingle Whiz. It made my yeah, we've been watching that. But I've got her watching New Japan, and her favorite wrestler is Kota Ibushi. And I sent her like, oh, hey, Pro Wrestling Tees has this shirt. She's like, I just bought that. She's like, oh, thanks for the link. Just bought it. I'm like, that is awesome. She's cool. Like the cool. Yeah, that's like the best.
Good
coolest
dude.
Woman ever. Anyways, I will hush my mouth before I keep talking and sound like a weirdo or something. I don't know. But yeah, thanks everybody for listening. Like again, thank you, Jesse. Thanks, Mark, for paying for us to have this podcast, even though Blog Talk Radio can go fuck itself with a metal rake. Yeah. Until next time, this is Coop. Thank you. I'm out of here. Have a good night. Rest in peace, David Gold. You magnificent man.
you want your windows there in weeks, pick up the phone and just text Reese.
Reese Windows and Doors is one of the fastest growing window companies in the state of Florida and is a proud supporter and fundraiser for the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. At Reese, they install only the highest quality windows and doors, with most windows installed in just 6 weeks. And now you can win them for free. Just text HAPPY to 20129 to win $15,000 in impact windows from Reese. That's HAPPY to 20129.
Hi, I'm David Moss with Moss Nissan. When it comes to servicing your vehicle, Moss Nissan is simply the best. You'll notice the difference the moment you walk through our door. Our team is like family, and we look forward to treating you like part of our family. With our state-of-the-art service facility, factory-trained technicians, we are more equipped to service all make and models. Plus, with our extended service hours, our pickup and drop-off service, you can have your vehicle serviced according to your schedule, not ours. Experience the Moss difference today. Moss Nissan, whatever it takes.